Okay, this is my closing remarks. I cannot mention everything what happened in these 4 days, but I will try to provide some summary of where we are today from my perspective. Okay, so first I will start with the poll what we running in last 2 days. And this poll, we have general discussions. The most dominating topic on this conference naturally was the use of LLM-based tools, but we wanted to make it more specific, and we asked 13 questions about particular decisioning tasks typical in this cycle, decisioning cycle, and it took 2 days, but last night I just took a snapshot of this, and I want to show you preliminary results. But what was, I think, was a good thing to do is to ask these 5 possible answers. People already use for this particular task Gen AI tool. They plan to use, or they use different tools, and will snapshot. I will quickly go through this, and because we're going to publish this anyway, so I just will quickly go. So you can see, for example, with this question, when discovery of business concept and decision variables, a lot of people already using this, and plan to use. This is quite optimistic approach, but this is a very natural area for Gen AI. And then we ask more questions, but I don't want to spend too much on this because it would be published with real results. This is just a snapshot. So I go quickly through these 13 responses because it's a preliminary. And let me stop on the summary. So what I noticed when I quickly analyzed the preliminary results is that already used went from 15 approximately in average to 48%. It's a quite optimistic. I did not expect such answers, and let's keep in mind that most people who already answered, that's our audience, current audience, and the audience of the last 4 days. And it means most of them specialists, and it means they very seriously look on use of LLM tools inside their product or inside their real world projects. So this is a very optimistic estimate, and even if people don't use but they plan to use, maybe even DecisionCAMP influence people to use. For example, when you saw at least in 2 presentations active use of MCP and AI agents, probably it will add some incentives to people. And I also noticed one outlier. When we ask question if people going to use decision models built without a human in loop, 57% said no. That's also a very interesting trend. But it's just preliminary summary. In a week, we're going to publish this at dmcommunity.org. So just let's stay patient. And I want to ask all of you, just pass this link to this poll to your colleagues. It will work for 1 more week, and then we will see the results and analyze them together. Okay, now some closing comments. In very simple way, what we do, we can see the business problem at the decision point. And the decision point, we have here usually subject matter expert who will make this decision, and this decision will transfer our problem from state 1 to state 2. Right? That's a very straightforward understanding, top level. You can explain to your spouses or children how it works. That's what we do. But then we can see what tools do you use. We usually apply rule engines or machine learning engines or optimization, constraint solvers and linear solver engines. And now we got in our disposal LLM-based tools, AI agents, And probably soon we will have some other engines what we even don't know. But we can add here just hard-coded decision engines written by programmers long time ago, or they continue to build new tools, and this is that's what we have in our disposal. And it's up to us to decide which of them, which combination of this tool to apply. But apparently, what we all can confirm from decision camp is that a hybrid use of different technology is a preferred way to go. But in reality, we apply this decision only in one point in a time. And if we consider that we're dealing with operational repetitive business decision, so we actually have the entire timeline, and in each point we apply decision, and this our problem is in different states. For example, what Martin just demonstrated, everything is changing in runtime. And it could be probably decision also could change. So if we look on this timeline, we actually have to make many decisions. And that's what Arash mentioned about continuous decision modeling and decision making. So this is our more realistic picture, and it means in different points in time we should be able to make different decisions, or we can make in one decision we should consider consequences of this decision for this decision for this decision. I just will mention my favorite example. We also did a warehouse management system, but we sent different in optimal way. We found which trucks to load with today orders. But if it was Wednesday and we found the optimal combination of trucks, and let's say usually when warehouse did this order fulfillment system with 42 trucks, our optimal solution on Wednesday, let's say here, we made it only 39 trucks. We saved a lot and we sent this in optimal way. We were happy, warehouse was happy, but then 2 days later, let's say this was Wednesday, this was Friday, suddenly new orders came, but we already don't have in our fleet this truck what really needed for this, and we have to delay this order, or we have to use 2 trucks instead of 1 trucks. So optimal in one moment can be not optimal, or actually worse than optimal in another moment. And we had a lot of examples of this during our decision camp. And this is everything deals with certain uncertainty. And our objective is to keep the overall process effective. The same thing in not logistic, consider insurance. Or loan, let's say a loan origination problem, the most typical one. We're looking on risk management over life of the loan. And we need to consider making the decision right now may affect our bottom line. The same thing with insurance, with all other problems we have. It's always we should look on long-term effectiveness of our decisions, not just one. So it means that it's not necessary to make the best decision at each point of time. We can make not the best, but close to best or good enough decisions here and here to make overall decisions much more effective. And this is certainly one of the most important problems. And the more we're in this business for many years, and I can see they become more and more important because people already satisfied with one decision made in certain point. But how to support the entire process, and we need to make sure that our system is in process of ongoing improvements. Something what late Eli Goldratt introduced long time ago, and it again becomes more and more important as we're implementing our systems. And based on a particular decision problem, a smart human will configure and apply different combination of our tools. And so here we have a very good application for agentic AI, and probably agentic AI, this is our nearest direction for improvement of our decision intelligence systems. And I also wanted to stress that all attempts to automate problems like this, 100% automation from the end-to-end automation sounds good, but it sounds to me as communism. I'm originally from a communist country myself, and I know that these good intentions don't lead to good results. So we have to be careful and probably lower our expectation a bit. And now I just want to mention few examples that confirm these points. About long-term decisions, and in general, Peter Voss, when he spoke about AGI research, he mentions that this research is right now on the way to intelligence of a 5-year-old child. This is good, and so it's we also can see process here. When Pierre Fillet presented their work in IBM on reasoning, they certainly talk about hybrid use of LLMs and symbolic systems, and this was quite open presentation about what we can do and what we cannot do right now, and this is certainly one to remember. And Maynard Feldman spoke about optimization under uncertainty. And his example, I would certainly remember when he makes this slide about Roger Federer won 80% of matches, but only 54% of points. It's almost the same that in each moment we will make decision in each particular match. Our decision is should not be optimal, but overall, Federer is a champion after many, many years. And that's what insurance company, financial service, logistic company have exactly the same objective, long-term objective. And it's also when we deal with problem, and if we have this view of problem, long-term, continuous view of problem, we can look on the problem and reformulate problem in such a way that we can find suboptimal decisions, but we can find them 1,000 times faster. And this was several nice examples provided by Meinolf, and what Martin just demonstrated. Probably it could improve this warehouse management system as well. And Gregor and Tom and Seth, they provided us with real-world examples how to apply far from perfect generative AI tools, but to apply them not to the entire process, but to certain sub-problems that could be efficiently improved, and this will improve the entire process. And we saw very particular examples, and this was also, I think we all should appreciate this openness, what these people did for us. And it was also interesting that Brian Stuckey, who deals with mortgage domain for many, many years now, he raised this question about executable DMN regulations, very similar to what Vincent discussed. But if he pointed to a very interesting problem, but instead of going to 100% automation, if we can go to 60 to 80% automation, it already could be very serious progress. And of course, Arash this morning discussed how to go from disconnected decision experience to continuous decision modeling, and again, long running, adaptive, event driven, they all were keywords for success. And our panel and our poll demonstrated some cautious optimism about the use of general AI in a decision intelligence context. So this is, in general, we got a good progress, a better understanding where we are today in this area, and before going to my last slide, I just want to mention one thing. What I just, when I thought Carlos always during the panel provides something what I have to think about later. And he mentioned something, he was a little bit frustrated when Carlos said that we all think about good intentions, but all these corporations, they're really looking only for profitability, and they never will make right decision, only decisions for profit. And I just have to tell you a little story that it's not always true when we consider again short-term versus long-term decisions. For example, I had in my practice a very interesting conversation with director of research from a very large insurance company. It was Humana and her team, and they I remember her words very nice about this, very clearly. She said that everybody thinks that insurance companies are all greedy, they're looking only for profit. And it could be true if you take one separate decision and insurance company doesn't approve certain medication and force a person to go to generic instead of specific medication. But she said that they want to change. They're looking for long-term solutions, and they want to avoid case when a person with diabetes, if they instead of $2,000 medications, they will give him only 500 medications, but then 2 years later they have this person should have surgery and lose his or her legs. It will cost them $50,000, and they want to look these long-term solutions to prevent these losses of income. So being greedy is not necessarily a bad thing. And because the overall, if they're greedy overall, they want just to stay in business. They want to handle the risk management. And from this perspective, long-term solutions versus short-term solutions decisions are very important. Okay, and I will, to wrap it up, I decided to finish this with a quote from the great Donald Knuth. Donald Knuth, you all know that he is one of the greatest living scientists, and he is, by the way, right now 87 years old. And if you did not listen to his latest interview, I highly recommend you to click when I publish this on this link. And he made very important, interesting point. His main point, he calls this 0.8 rule. 0.8 is enough. So he spoke about acceptance of imperfection. And he said that being happy maximum 80% of the time is good enough. And of course, he mentions that life is a journey, not a destination. And I believe we can say the same about our decision-making processes. He also mentioned just a little bit more, not directly related to decisions, but I would strongly recommend you to listen to this smart man. He's talking about his real world achievements and how he takes them. He talks about his attempts to put numerical values on beauty and art. He also mentioned his first encounter with mortality. But this is probably the final point what I want to make. He says that realizing how little we know now and being in peace with this is very, very important point. So I just think it's a good point to finish our decision camp. And by the way, this morning I just opened the email and I got first response. I saw like 400 views of all our announcements about on LinkedIn about different sessions and recording, in spite of the fact that it's just 25, 30 people attend all the time, but a lot of people will continue to watch our recording, and this is important. But this was one email I received this morning. You can read it. So it's really nice when people appreciate what you guys presented these days with all your presentations, questions. This is really important. So he says that the community and people in the community are great help. That's nice to hear. And finally, I just want to thank to all presenter, panelists and attendees, and looking forward to Decision Camp in 2026. Thank you very much, everybody. I will stop presentation.